Mastering Self-Worth, Reclaiming the Truth of Who You Truly Are. Copyright 2025 by Commanding Life, LLC. All rights reserved. Introduction. Reclaiming the Truth of Who You Truly Are. For too long, you have doubted yourself. You have measured your value by your achievements, your relationships, your appearance, or how much approval you could gather from others. You have questioned whether you are enough, whether you are lovable, whether you are deserving of the life you desire. But here is the truth. Your worth was never in question. You do not need to prove, earn, or justify your value. You do not need to be perfect to be deserving. You do not need to hustle for love, success, or belonging. You are already enough, exactly as you are, in this moment. This book is not about teaching you how to become worthy. It is about guiding you back to the truth that you have always been worthy. It is about unlearning the conditioning that made you doubt yourself and reclaiming the deep, unshakable self-worth that has been within you all along. You are not here to shrink. You are not here to prove. You are not here to settle. You are here to stand tall in your value, to take up space unapologetically, to walk through life knowing that you belong, not because someone else says so, but because you say so. This journey is not about perfection. There will be moments of doubt, challenges that test you, and old patterns that try to return. But the difference now is that you will no longer let those things define you. Through the pages of this book, you will learn how to let go of external validation, set boundaries that honor your worth, speak to yourself with love, and move through life with confidence. You will learn how to stop settling, stop shrinking, and stop waiting for permission to own your power. You are not broken. You do not need fixing. You are already whole. You are already enough. And it is time to start living like it. Welcome to the beginning of your self-worth mastery. Let's begin. Chapter 1. What is self-worth? Self-worth is the foundation of everything you do, the way you show up in the world, and how you allow yourself to be treated. It is the invisible force that shapes your choices, your relationships, and even the opportunities you believe you deserve. It influences whether you stand tall in your truth or shrink to fit expectations. It determines whether you demand respect or silently accept mistreatment. It is not something you earn. It is something you claim. You were born worthy. From the moment you entered this world, before you had achieved anything, before you had learned how to walk or speak, you were already enough. No life experience, failure, or external opinion can take that away. Yet somewhere along the way, many of us forget this truth. Instead of seeing our worth as something constant and unshakable, we begin to attach it to external things: success, validation, relationships, achievements. We start believing that we must prove our worth rather than simply own it. Think about the moments in your life when you have doubted yourself. Maybe it was when you lost a job, when a relationship ended, when you made a mistake, or when someone rejected you. In those moments, did you feel less worthy? If so, it is because your sense of worth had been tied to something outside of you. The problem with this approach is that when those things disappear, your self-worth crumbles with them. This chapter will help you redefine self-worth in a way that is unshakable, one that is rooted in your very existence rather than in anything external. The goal is not to simply understand self-worth, but to embody it, so that no matter what happens in life, you remain firm in the knowing that you are valuable, whole, and enough. Many people confuse self-worth with self-esteem, but they are not the same. Self-esteem is based on how you feel about yourself in a given moment, often influenced by achievements, appearance, or external validation. It fluctuates depending on circumstances. When things go well, self-esteem rises. When things go wrong, it can plummet. Self-worth, however, is deeper. It is the unwavering belief that you are inherently valuable, regardless of success, failure, or how others perceive you. It does not rise when you succeed, nor does it fall when you make mistakes. It simply is. Imagine your self-esteem as a stock market. It fluctuates daily based on external conditions. Now, imagine self-worth as the ocean, deep, vast, and steady beneath the surface, no matter how turbulent the waves above may be. True self-worth is not swayed by temporary circumstances. It remains constant, no matter what storms may come. To fully grasp the concept of self-worth, picture a diamond buried deep in the earth. Over time, dirt covers it, it gets stepped on, and it remains hidden beneath the surface. But does any of that dirt change the value of the diamond? Number. The diamond remains just as precious, just as rare, just as worthy of being treasured. It simply needs to be uncovered. You are that diamond. Your worth has never been diminished, no matter what life has thrown at you. It may be buried under past experiences, under negative self-talk, under limiting beliefs that tell you that you are not enough, but none of those things have actually changed your value. The good news? Your worth has never been lost, only forgotten. And this book will help you uncover it again. Many people go through life without realizing that they have placed their worth in the hands of external factors. If you find yourself constantly seeking validation from others, struggling to accept compliments, or feeling like you must prove yourself through achievements, you may be measuring your worth by the wrong standards. Perhaps you tolerate relationships or situations that make you feel small. Perhaps you engage in negative self-talk, doubting your abilities or comparing yourself to others. Maybe you feel guilty for prioritizing yourself or hesitate to speak up because you do not believe your voice matters. These patterns are not reflections of your true worth. They are signs that you have been conditioned to forget it. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward breaking free from them. Your worth is not based on what you do, what you have, or how others see you. It is not defined by your job title, income, relationship status, physical appearance, or the opinions of others. It is not something that can be given to you by external validation, nor is it something that can be taken away by rejection or failure. Your worth exists simply because you do. It is time to separate your worth from external factors. You are not worthy only when you succeed. You are worthy even when you fail. You do not need others to approve of you. You validate yourself. Your inner dialogue plays a powerful role in shaping how you see yourself. If you often think, "I'm not good enough" or "I don't deserve happiness," these beliefs will influence your actions, your decisions, and the way you show up in the world. But beliefs can be changed. Every time you catch yourself engaging in negative self-talk, pause and replace the thought with one that supports your worth. If you think, "I always mess things up," shift it to, "I am learning and growing every day." If you think, "I am unworthy of love," shift it to, "I am deserving of love exactly as I am." When you truly know your worth, you stop tolerating mistreatment. You no longer feel the need to overextend yourself to please others. You stop settling for relationships that drain you, jobs that undervalue you, and environments that do not support your growth. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful acts of self-worth. If you find yourself saying yes when you really mean no, or prioritizing others at the expense of your well-being, it is time to shift that. Honor yourself by deciding what is acceptable for you and standing firm in that decision. Self-worth is about self-validation. Instead of waiting for others to tell you that you are good enough, tell yourself. Acknowledge your efforts. Celebrate your progress. Remind yourself daily that you are worthy, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Affirmations for self-worth. I am worthy because I exist. My worth is not based on external factors. I speak to myself with kindness, love, and respect. I honor myself by setting boundaries that protect my energy and well-being. I validate myself. A practice for today. For one day, become aware of your thoughts. Notice every negative statement you make about yourself and write them down. Then, reframe each one into a positive statement that supports your self-worth. If you catch yourself thinking, "I always mess things up," replace it with, "I am learning and growing every day." If you feel unworthy because of something outside of you, remind yourself, "My worth is unshakable." Your job is not to earn your worth, your job is to own it. From this moment forward, decide to walk through life with the unshakable knowing that you are enough, because you always have been. Chapter 2: The Root of Low Self-Worth. If self-worth is something we are born with, why do so many of us struggle to feel it? The answer lies in the layers of conditioning, experiences, and beliefs we have picked up along the way. No one is born doubting their worth. A baby never questions if they are lovable or deserving of care. They cry when they need something, fully expecting to be attended to. They do not hesitate. They do not wonder whether they are a burden. They do not apologize for taking up space. Somewhere along the way, this natural sense of self-worth starts to erode. As we grow, we absorb messages from the world around us. Some of these messages affirm our worth, while others chip away at it, creating cracks in the foundation of our self-perception. By the time we reach adulthood, many of us are carrying unspoken beliefs that make us feel like we have to earn our worth, rather than recognize that it was never in question. The roots of low self-worth are often planted in childhood. The way we were treated, the words spoken to us, and the environments we grew up in shape our internal dialogue. If love and approval felt conditional, based on performance, obedience, or pleasing others, we may have learned that our worth is something to be earned rather than something that is innate. Children are sponges. They absorb not just what is said to them, but also what is left unsaid. If a child is consistently praised only for their achievements but not for their essence, they may internalize the idea that they are only valuable when they are doing, rather than simply being. If they are criticized, ignored, or made to feel like they are a burden, they may develop a belief that they are inherently flawed or unworthy of love. For some, low self-worth stems from direct experiences of rejection, neglect, or emotional wounds. Being told they were too much or not enough in some way can settle into their subconscious, shaping the way they see themselves for years to come. Even well-intended messages, such as being taught to always put others first, can create patterns of self-sacrifice that leave them believing their own needs are not as important. Negative experiences, such as failure, comparison, or being dismissed by people they admired, can also leave lasting imprints. When painful moments are not processed, they turn into silent scripts that play on repeat in the mind. These scripts whisper things like, "You are not good enough. You have to prove yourself. You must be perfect to be loved." Over time, these messages become an internal truth, even though they were never actually true to begin with. When self-worth is fragile, it becomes dependent on external validation. We seek approval, praise, or recognition to feel valuable. When others affirm us, we feel good. When they don't, we start to question ourselves. This cycle keeps us chasing worth outside of ourselves, never realizing that we had it all along. Imagine a flower that only blooms when it is watered by others. If no one tends to it, it begins to wither, waiting for someone to acknowledge its beauty. Now, imagine a tree with deep roots. It does not depend on someone else's hand to thrive because it draws nourishment from within. This is the difference between seeking worth externally and embodying it from within. When you depend on validation from others, your sense of worth is always at risk. A compliment makes you feel high, while a criticism makes you feel low. The approval of others lifts you up, but their disapproval brings you crashing down. Living this way is exhausting because your confidence is only as stable as the opinions of those around you. Self-worth is about creating deep roots within yourself so that you no longer need someone else's validation to feel valuable. It is about learning to stand in your worth, whether or not the world recognizes it. Low self-worth touches every aspect of life. It influences the way you make decisions, the relationships you choose, and the way you allow yourself to be treated. It can manifest as people-pleasing, difficulty setting boundaries, or staying in situations that do not honor your value. It can lead to self-doubt, over-explaining, or feeling unworthy of love, success, or happiness. If you constantly feel like you have to prove yourself, overwork to feel valuable, or shrink yourself in relationships, these may be signs that you have been operating from a place of low self-worth. You may find yourself tolerating disrespect, accepting less than you deserve, or struggling to stand up for yourself. You may have difficulty receiving compliments or accepting help because a part of you does not believe you are truly deserving. The good news is that these patterns are learned, which means they can also be unlearned. It is time to let go of the outdated beliefs that have been keeping you small. The idea that you are not enough is a lie you were taught. It is not the truth of who you are. You do not need to earn your worth. You do not have to prove yourself to be loved. You were born worthy, and nothing you have been through has changed that. Every time you catch yourself seeking external validation, remind yourself that your worth does not come from others. It comes from within. Every time you hear an old script playing in your mind that says you are not enough, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really true, or is this just a belief I picked up along the way? If it is not an empowering belief, it is time to release it. Affirmations for reclaiming your worth. I am worthy as I am. My worth is not defined by my past. I release the need for external validation. I let go of old beliefs that do not serve me. I trust in my inherent value. A practice for today. Take a moment to reflect on the messages you received about your worth growing up. What were you told, directly or indirectly, about your value? Write down 3 beliefs about yourself that may have come from childhood, past experiences, or societal conditioning. Then rewrite them into new, empowering truths. If you were taught that you have to work hard to be valuable, shift it to, my worth is not dependent on my productivity. If you believed you had to be perfect to be loved, shift it to, I am worthy of love exactly as I am. If you were made to feel invisible, shift it to, I deserve to be seen, heard, and valued. You are not the story you were given. You are the creator of your own truth. Starting today, begin to rewrite the narrative. The moment you decide to let go of the false beliefs that have held you back, you take the first step towards stepping into your true worth. Chapter 3. Redefining your worth. Self-worth is not something you find. It is something you decide. It is not hidden in achievements, appearances, relationships, or the approval of others. It is not something you must search for or earn. It is already within you, waiting for you to claim it. Self-worth is an unshakable knowing that you are enough as you are, without needing to prove or justify it. Yet, for most of us, self-worth has been defined by external factors for so long that it feels unnatural to claim it without validation. We have been conditioned to believe that our value is tied to success, approval, or the roles we play in life. We have learned to measure ourselves against expectations set by others, allowing their opinions and standards to dictate our sense of worth. But when we let go of these attachments, we realize a liberating truth. Self-worth was never meant to be something we earn. It was meant to be something we embody. It has always been within us, waiting for us to recognize it. Conditional worth is the belief that you are only valuable under certain circumstances. It whispers that you are only worthy if you succeed, if others approve of you, if you meet a specific standard set by society, family, or culture. This type of worth is fragile because it is dependent on things that are always changing. If your worth is tied to your achievements, what happens when you fail? If it is tied to your appearance, what happens when you age? If it is tied to relationships, what happens when someone leaves? True self-worth, however, is constant. It is not based on what you do, but on who you are. It does not rise when others approve of you, nor does it fall when they do not. It remains unshaken because it is rooted in something far deeper than external validation. It is rooted in your very existence. Think of a mountain. No matter the weather, whether the sun shines on it or the storm rages, it remains standing. The wind does not move it, the rain does not diminish it, and the passing of time does not lessen its presence. Your self-worth is meant to be like that mountain, steady and unwavering, regardless of what happens around you. The words I am are the most powerful words you will ever speak because whatever follows them shapes your reality. If you say, I am not good enough, your mind will look for evidence to prove that true. If you say, I am worthy, your mind will begin to align with that belief. Many of us have spent years unconsciously repeating negative I am statements without realizing their impact. We say things like, I am not lovable, I am a failure, I am not as good as others. Over time, these words become the foundation of how we see ourselves, shaping our actions, choices, and experiences. But just as these words have created limitation, they can also create liberation. The shift begins when you consciously choose to replace these negative beliefs with empowering I am statements that reflect the truth of your worth. Imagine planting seeds in a garden. If you plant weeds, statements of self-doubt and unworthiness, those weeds will take over. But if you uproot them and plant strong, nourishing beliefs, you will cultivate a thriving inner world. Your self-worth flourishes when you choose to plant thoughts that affirm, rather than diminish, your value. One of the biggest shifts in mastering self-worth is realizing that you do not need to prove yourself to be valuable. The need to prove often comes from old wounds, seeking approval, fearing rejection, or trying to earn love. But the truth is, you are worthy whether or not you accomplish another thing. You do not have to hustle for your worth. You do not have to overextend yourself to be liked. You do not have to explain yourself to be understood. Your worth is inherent, and the moment you stop chasing it, you allow yourself to fully embody it. Think about how much energy is wasted in trying to prove yourself, overworking to feel valuable, bending to meet others' expectations, or playing small to be accepted. Now imagine reclaiming that energy and using it to simply be, to live, to create, to love yourself without hesitation. When you stop seeking permission to be enough, you become unstoppable. Owning your worth is not just a mindset, it is an action. It means speaking to yourself with kindness, making choices that honor your value, and not settling for less than you deserve. It means standing tall in your truth and letting go of anything that does not align with it. When you own your worth, you stop saying yes when you mean no. You stop tolerating relationships that make you question your value. You stop apologizing for taking up space. You begin to carry yourself differently, knowing that you are enough just as you are. Self-worth is expressed in the way you walk into a room, the way you advocate for yourself, and the way you refuse to settle. It is the way you set boundaries, prioritize your well-being, and choose relationships that align with your highest self. It is not just what you believe, it is what you live. Affirmations for redefining your worth. I am worthy simply because I exist. I do not have to prove my worth to anyone. I choose to believe in my inherent value. I release the need for external validation. I am enough exactly as I am. A practice for today. Write down 3 negative I am statements that you have told yourself in the past. Then rewrite them into powerful affirmations of self-worth. If you have thought I am not good enough, replace it with I am more than enough. If you have believed I have to earn love, replace it with I am worthy of love simply because I exist. If you have felt I am invisible, replace it with I am seen, valued, and respected. The way you speak to yourself matters. Every time you affirm your worth, you are rewiring your mind to accept the truth. You are worthy now and always. Starting today, make a conscious choice to carry yourself as someone who knows their worth. Speak your affirmations with conviction, walk with confidence, and hold your head high, not because you need to be seen, but because you finally see yourself. Chapter 4. Setting Boundaries as an Act of Self-Worth. Boundaries are a declaration of self-worth. They define what you will and will not accept, how you expect to be treated, and the space you need to honor yourself fully. They are the invisible lines that protect your energy, time, and emotional well-being. When you know your worth, you no longer allow people, situations, or habits to drain you. You no longer tolerate relationships that diminish you. You no longer feel guilty for prioritizing your well-being. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they have been taught that saying no is selfish, that prioritizing themselves means they are abandoning others, or that their value is tied to being available, accommodating, and self-sacrificing. But the truth is, a lack of boundaries does not create love or connection. It creates resentment, exhaustion, and self-betrayal. Setting boundaries is not about shutting people out. It is about creating space for healthy, mutually respectful relationships. It is not about rejecting responsibilities. It is about honoring what you can realistically give without depleting yourself. When you set boundaries, you are not pushing others away. You are making space for the relationships, experiences, and environments that truly align with your worth. Your self-worth is reflected in what you tolerate. If you constantly say yes when you mean no, allow others to take advantage of your kindness, or remain in spaces that deplete you, you are reinforcing the idea that your needs do not matter. If you shrink yourself to avoid conflict, overextend yourself to be liked, or allow toxic behaviors to continue because you fear rejection, you are sending a message, both to yourself and to others, that you do not value your own well-being. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect. It is a way of telling yourself and the world, I value myself too much to accept less than I deserve. Boundaries are not about controlling others, they are about controlling what you allow into your life. You cannot change how people behave, but you can decide what behavior you are willing to engage with. Imagine your energy as a sacred home. Without boundaries, anyone can walk in, rearrange the furniture, and leave a mess behind. But when you have clear boundaries, you create a strong foundation that protects your peace, emotional well-being, and sense of self. If you often feel drained, resentful, or overextended, it may be a sign that your boundaries are too weak. You may feel guilty for putting yourself first, find yourself overcommitted, or struggle to express your needs. If you notice that certain relationships leave you feeling small, used, or unappreciated, it is a sign that stronger boundaries are needed. Other signs of weak boundaries include feeling responsible for other people's emotions and well-being, struggling to say no even when you are exhausted or unwilling, feeling resentment toward people who constantly ask for favors, avoiding conflict at all costs, even when it means neglecting your own needs, over-explaining yourself when setting limits, saying yes out of obligation rather than genuine willingness. Your energy is precious. You do not have to justify protecting it. You do not owe access to your time, space, or emotional energy to anyone who does not respect it. Setting boundaries does not mean you are mean, unkind, or selfish. It means you value yourself enough to say, "This is what I need, and I will not compromise my well-being for the comfort of others." The key to setting boundaries is clarity and consistency. Decide what is and is not acceptable for you, communicate it clearly, and uphold it without apology. Boundaries do not require an explanation or permission. They are your birthright. If someone reacts negatively to your boundary, it is a reflection of their expectations, not a measure of your worth. Some people have benefited from your lack of boundaries, and when you start standing up for yourself, they may resist. That is not a reason to give in. It is a sign that your boundary is necessary. When you first start setting boundaries, it may feel uncomfortable, especially if you are used to people-pleasing or putting others first. But discomfort is temporary. Self-respect is permanent. If you often overcommit, practice saying, "I cannot take that on right now, but I appreciate you thinking of me." If someone constantly drains your energy with negativity, create distance by saying, "I care about you, but I cannot hold space for this conversation right now." If someone crosses a line, firmly say, "I will not allow that kind of behavior in my life." If a friend or family member consistently disregards your time, set a limit by saying, "I love spending time with you, but I need to be mindful of my schedule, so I will need to leave by a specific time." If a colleague or employer pressures you to take on more work than you can handle, say, "I am happy to contribute, but I cannot take on additional tasks at this moment." Boundaries are not just about saying no, they are about defining your limits and honoring them. They are about choosing yourself, even when it is difficult. Affirmations for healthy boundaries. I honor myself by setting clear boundaries. I do not have to sacrifice my well-being to make others comfortable. My needs matter, and I express them with confidence. I am allowed to say no without guilt. I release the fear of disappointing others by honoring myself. A practice for today. Reflect on one area of your life where you feel drained, taken for granted, or out of alignment. Identify one boundary you need to set and write it down. If it involves a person, practice saying it out loud to yourself. If it involves a habit or pattern, commit to making a small shift today. For example, if you have been checking emails late at night because your workplace expects it, set a boundary that you will no longer do so. If you have been answering texts immediately, even when you need time for yourself, set a boundary that you will respond on your own time. Setting boundaries is how you show yourself that you truly know your value. It is how you declare to the world, I am worthy of respect, balance, and peace. Your self-worth is not just something you believe, it is something you embody. And boundaries are how you live it every day. Chapter 5. Letting go of external validation. For too long, many of us have been conditioned to believe that our worth is something to be confirmed by others. We seek approval, praise, and validation to feel valuable, hoping that the right words from the right people will finally make us believe in ourselves. We chase likes on social media, rely on compliments to feel attractive, and wait for someone else to tell us that we are good enough before we give ourselves permission to believe it. But this pursuit of validation is a never-ending cycle. The high of approval is temporary, and when it fades, we are left seeking the next reassurance, the next acknowledgement, the next external confirmation of our worth. It keeps us dependent on factors we cannot control, constantly shifting our sense of value based on how others perceive us. If others approve of us, we feel worthy. If they don't, we feel inadequate. The truth is, self-worth is not found outside of you. It is something you cultivate within. It is time to stop seeking permission to be enough and start embodying the truth that you already are. The need for validation often stems from childhood experiences, past rejections, or a deep desire to belong. If we were only praised when we achieved something, we may have learned that our value is tied to performance. If we were criticized, overlooked, or made to feel like we had to prove ourselves to receive love, we may have internalized the belief that we are only as good as what we accomplish. Validation itself is not inherently bad. It is natural to want to be seen, heard, and appreciated. Humans are wired for connection, and feeling valued is an important part of our well-being. The problem arises when our self-worth becomes dependent on external approval, when we give away our power by allowing others to dictate how we feel about ourselves. When we live for validation, we shape ourselves to fit expectations rather than honoring who we truly are. We say what we think others want to hear. We suppress parts of ourselves to avoid criticism. We overextend ourselves to gain approval, even at the cost of our own well-being. In doing so, we become disconnected from our truth. Imagine a bird that refuses to fly unless others applaud. It hesitates, waiting for approval before spreading its wings. But a bird does not ask for permission to soar. It simply flies because that is what it was made to do. You were not meant to live in hesitation, waiting for others to confirm your value. You were meant to fully express yourself, regardless of who notices or applauds. Living for validation leads to self-abandonment. You begin saying yes when you mean no. You mold yourself into what others expect instead of being authentic. You fear disappointing people, so you sacrifice your truth to keep them happy. But in doing so, you lose connection to yourself. The more you seek validation from others, the less you trust your own voice. You second-guess your decisions, wondering if they are good enough in the eyes of others. You hold back parts of yourself out of fear that they won't be accepted. You spend so much energy being what you think others want that you forget to ask yourself, what do I truly want? If you have been waiting for approval to believe in yourself, take this as your sign. You do not need permission to own your worth. Releasing external validation does not mean you stop caring about others. It means you stop needing their approval to feel good about yourself. The first step is awareness. Notice when you hesitate to make a decision because you are waiting for someone else's opinion. Notice when you feel anxious about whether others approve of you. Notice when you change yourself to fit in. Awareness is the key to breaking free from this pattern. The second step is shifting your focus inward. Instead of asking, "What will they think of me?" ask, "What do I think of me?" Instead of wondering, "Do they approve of my choices?" ask, "Do I approve of my choices?" The more you practice self-validation, the less dependent you become on external approval. The third step is standing firm in your truth. Not everyone will agree with your choices, and that is okay. Your worth is not determined by consensus. When you fully own who you are, you naturally attract people who respect and appreciate you without needing you to change. Self-validation is the practice of acknowledging and affirming yourself without needing external confirmation. It means recognizing your own growth, celebrating your own wins, and trusting your own judgment. When you make a decision, affirm yourself by saying, "I trust myself to make choices that align with my highest good." When you accomplish something, instead of waiting for someone else to congratulate you, tell yourself, "I am proud of myself." When you express your truth, remind yourself, "My voice matters, even if not everyone agrees with me." When you recognize your own worth, you no longer need others to confirm it for you. You begin to realize that your value was never something to be given to you by others. It was always within you. Affirmations for self-validation. I do not need external approval to know I am worthy. I trust my own voice and decisions. I celebrate myself, whether others notice or not. I release the need to seek validation from outside of me. I am enough exactly as I am. A practice for today. Reflect on a recent time when you sought external validation. Ask yourself, what was I hoping to receive from others? Approval, reassurance, a sense of belonging? Then ask yourself, how can I give that to myself instead? Write down 3 things you usually seek validation for, and next to each, write how you can begin validating yourself instead. For example, if you seek validation from social media, affirm, "I do not need likes or comments to confirm my value." If you seek validation from a partner or friend, affirm, "I am lovable and whole, regardless of how others perceive me." If you seek validation from your work or achievements, remind yourself, "My worth is not based on my productivity. I am valuable simply because I exist." Your worth is not up for debate. It does not fluctuate based on who sees you, who praises you, or who approves of you. It is yours to own, fully, boldly, and without apology. You are not here to perform for the approval of others. You are here to be fully, unapologetically yourself. Starting today, release the need to be validated by anyone but yourself. Choose to stand in your worth, not because someone else acknowledges it, but because you do. Before we move on to the next chapter, we wanted to share something powerful with you. Our CEO of Commanding Life, Rachel, has written a new book. For years, she's helped people move from healing to thriving, and one thing became clear to her. We're not all operating from the same foundation. Some people create from struggle, others from fear, and some from alignment. Thriving isn't about luck or chance, it's about principles. And if you don't know the right ones, you'll keep feeling stuck no matter how hard you try. That's why she wrote Thrive, 22 principles to stop struggling, unlock your true power, and command your life. This book will give you a baseline, a powerful foundation to help you break free, align with your power, and start creating the life you actually want. If you're tired of waiting for things to change, our new book, Thrive, is your opportunity to take control and become a powerful creator of more. You weren't meant to struggle. You were meant to thrive. Grab your copy today on Amazon worldwide or at shopcommandinglife.com. Chapter 6. Embodying Worth in Daily Life. Knowing your worth is one thing. Living it is another. Self-worth is not just a mindset. It is a practice. It is not simply an idea you hold in your mind, but a way of being that permeates every part of your life. It is the way you carry yourself, the choices you make, and the way you treat yourself every single day. Many people think self-worth is about feeling good all the time, but it is not. It is about standing in your value, even when life tests you. It is about choosing yourself, even when it is uncomfortable. It is about treating yourself with respect, even when others don't. You do not embody self-worth simply by saying, "I am worthy." You embody it by living as though you believe it. When you truly know your worth, you stop explaining yourself, stop over-apologizing, and stop trying to prove yourself to people who cannot see your value. You no longer accept less than you deserve, not from others, and certainly not from yourself. When you truly embody your worth, you no longer just believe in it, you act on it. Self-worth is reflected in the way you take care of yourself, the way you speak to yourself, and the way you allow yourself to receive. It shows up in your boundaries, your habits, and the way you handle setbacks. When you embody self-worth, you do not chase love. You attract it by knowing you are already lovable. You do not settle for less than you deserve. You wait for what aligns with your value. You do not shrink to make others comfortable. You take up space unapologetically. You no longer tolerate mistreatment, whether from others or from yourself. You recognize that your time and energy are valuable, and you refuse to spend them in places where you are not honored. You prioritize your well-being, not as an afterthought, but as a necessity. You listen to your intuition, trust your own voice, and stop waiting for permission to choose yourself. Most importantly, you stop performing for validation and start living in alignment with your truth. Self-worth is not about arrogance or entitlement. It is about deep, unwavering self-respect. It is about recognizing that you are just as deserving of joy, love, and success as anyone else. The way you treat yourself sets the tone for how others treat you. If you do not honor your own time, energy, and needs, the world will reflect that back to you. But when you embody self-worth, your daily habits shift. A person who knows their worth speaks to themselves with kindness. They do not entertain self-criticism or engage in thoughts that diminish their value. They correct themselves when old patterns of self-doubt arise, choosing words that uplift rather than tear down. A person who knows their worth prioritizes their well-being. They do not put themselves last, run on empty, or feel guilty for resting. They listen to their body, nourish their mind, and protect their energy. A person who knows their worth walks with confidence. They do not seek permission to be themselves. They trust their intuition, make choices that align with their values, and stand firm in their decisions without needing external validation. A person who knows their worth does not chase love, success, or approval. They know that what is meant for them will align naturally, without force or desperation. They focus on being in flow rather than proving themselves. Respecting yourself means refusing to tolerate mistreatment, honoring your own needs, and showing up for yourself the way you wish others would. It means recognizing that you are worthy of love, kindness, and respect. Not just from the people around you, but from yourself. Think of how you would treat someone you deeply admire. Would you criticize them? Ignore their needs? Settle for situations that make them unhappy? You would honor them, uplift them, and make sure they are treated well. You deserve that same level of care from yourself. Every time you say yes to something that does not serve you, you are choosing to ignore your worth. Every time you settle, you are reinforcing the belief that you are not worthy of more. But every time you stand in your truth, choose yourself, and act in alignment with your value, you reclaim your power. Embodying self-worth is not about making one big decision. It is about the small, consistent choices you make every day. You honor your time and energy. You no longer overcommit to things that drain you. You say no when necessary, and do not feel the need to explain yourself. You practice self-care without guilt. You rest when needed, nourish your body, and engage in activities that make you feel good, without justifying why you deserve it. You surround yourself with people who uplift you. You let go of relationships that make you feel unworthy and welcome those who see your value. You speak to yourself with kindness. You catch negative self-talk and reframe it with words that empower rather than diminish you. You allow yourself to receive. You accept compliments, help, and opportunities without downplaying yourself or feeling unworthy. You make choices based on your truth, not on external validation. You do not let fear of judgment dictate your decisions. When you live this way, you stop questioning whether you are worthy. You know you are. Affirmations for embodying self-worth. I carry myself with confidence and self-respect. I treat myself with kindness and care. I make choices that align with my highest good. I honor my needs without guilt or apology. I walk through life knowing I am worthy. A practice for today. Take inventory of your daily habits and ask yourself, do my actions reflect self-worth? Look at how you speak to yourself, how you spend your time, and how you allow yourself to be treated. Choose one small shift you can make today that embodies self-worth, whether it is speaking more kindly to yourself, saying no to something that drains you, or making a choice that truly honors you. For example, if you notice you criticize yourself often, commit to replacing self-judgment with self-compassion. If you realize you put everyone else's needs before your own, set a boundary that prioritizes your well-being. If you catch yourself shrinking or apologizing unnecessarily, decide to stand firm in your truth. Self-worth is not just something you affirm, it is something you live, and every choice you make is an opportunity to reinforce the truth. You are worthy now, always, and in all ways. Starting today, step into your worth not just in thought, but in action. Speak it, live it, and embody it, because you are enough exactly as you are. Chapter 7. Mastering Self-Worth in Relationships. The way you see yourself sets the tone for the way others treat you. Your relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or familial, are a reflection of how deeply you honor your own value. When you truly know your worth, you do not entertain connections that make you feel small, unseen, or unappreciated. You do not chase, beg, or shrink yourself to be loved. You do not cling to people who do not respect your boundaries or diminish your sense of self. Instead, you move through relationships with confidence, knowing that you deserve mutual respect, reciprocity, and genuine care. You attract connections that reflect your self-worth because you no longer settle for anything less. When your sense of worth is strong, you no longer need to grasp for love. It flows to you effortlessly because you radiate the energy of someone who knows they are already enough. When self-worth is low, it often shows up in the form of overgiving, people-pleasing, or tolerating less than you deserve. You may find yourself in one-sided relationships where you pour all of your energy into someone who gives little in return. You may excuse mistreatment, hoping things will change, or accept breadcrumbs instead of the full love and respect you desire. Sometimes low self-worth leads to settling in relationships out of fear of being alone, fear of not being chosen, or fear of not being enough. But a connection that requires you to abandon yourself is never love. It is self-betrayal. Real love does not ask you to shrink, silence yourself, or sacrifice your happiness just to maintain a relationship. When you do not recognize your own worth, you may accept bare minimum effort, tolerate inconsistent treatment, or overlook red flags just to feel loved. But this is not love. It is a reflection of internal wounds that need healing. You do not need to prove that you are worthy of love. Love is not something you earn, it is something you allow. When you master self-worth in relationships, you no longer seek love to complete you because you already feel whole within yourself. You do not fear being alone because you know your own company is valuable. You do not cling to relationships that require you to shrink because you understand that real love does not ask you to be anything other than yourself. Many people believe they must prove themselves to be worthy of love, but the truth is, love is not something that is won. It is something that naturally aligns when you stand in your worth. When you stop seeking validation from others and start fully embodying your own value, the quality of your relationships shifts. When you are rooted in self-worth, you no longer chase after love. You do not try to convince someone to see your value. You do not tolerate inconsistent, disrespectful, or half-hearted connections. Instead, you trust that the right relationships will align naturally. You attract people who meet you at your level because you are no longer willing to lower your standards. Mastering self-worth in relationships is about recognizing what you truly deserve and refusing to settle for anything less. It means knowing that love should feel safe, mutual, and uplifting, not draining, confusing, or conditional. You deserve to be with people who respect your boundaries without resistance. Healthy relationships honor the limits you set, whether it is about your time, emotional capacity, or personal space. Show up with consistency and honesty. You should not have to guess where you stand with someone who values you. Support your growth without competition or control. True love celebrates your expansion rather than feeling threatened by it. Love and accept you for who you are, not who they want you to be. You should never have to mold yourself to fit someone's expectations to receive love. If a relationship constantly makes you question your worth, it is not aligned with your highest self. If you have to beg for attention, affection, or effort, it is not the right connection for you. Love should not feel like convincing. It should feel like belonging. Releasing relationships that do not honor your worth is one of the hardest yet most powerful things you can do. Sometimes we hold on because of history, fear, or hope that things will change. But staying in spaces that make you feel unworthy does not protect you. It prevents you from experiencing the love you truly deserve. If someone consistently disrespects you, dismisses your needs, or makes you feel small, that is not love. It is a reflection of their own limitations, not your worth. Walking away does not mean you are giving up on love. It means you are choosing to make space for love that actually aligns with your value. Letting go is not easy, but neither is staying in a situation that slowly erodes your self-worth. You are not responsible for fixing people who cannot meet you where you are. You are not obligated to stay in spaces that require you to diminish yourself. You deserve relationships that feel like home, not battlegrounds where you constantly have to fight to be seen. Choosing yourself is always worth it. Affirmations for self-worth in relationships. I only welcome relationships that honor my value. I do not have to prove my worth to be loved. I attract connections that reflect my self-worth. I deserve love that feels safe, mutual, and consistent. I am whole within myself, and love is a bonus, not a necessity. A practice for today. Reflect on your current relationships, romantic, friendships, and family dynamics. Ask yourself, do these connections make me feel seen, valued, and respected? If any relationship consistently makes you feel unworthy, drained, or disrespected, consider what boundaries need to be set, or if it is time to let go. Write down one action step you can take to honor your self-worth in relationships today. If you have been tolerating inconsistency, communicate your needs clearly and observe whether the other person respects them. If you have been settling for less than you deserve, remind yourself that it is okay to walk away from relationships that do not align. If you have been afraid to set boundaries, practice asserting yourself in small ways today. Loving yourself deeply changes the way you allow yourself to be loved by others. When you know your worth, you never settle for less than you deserve. Chapter 8. Walking in Your Power. Mastering self-worth is not just about understanding it. It is about living it. It is about showing up every day as someone who knows they are enough. It is about carrying yourself with confidence, making decisions from a place of self-respect, and no longer apologizing for who you are. Owning your worth is an internal shift that transforms how you engage with the world. When you fully accept your value, you stop shrinking to fit spaces that cannot hold you. You stop waiting for validation, permission, or proof that you are good enough. You trust yourself. You believe in your ability to create a life that aligns with your highest good. You walk through the world knowing that you belong, not because someone else says so, but because you say so. When you walk in your power, you are no longer easily shaken by rejection, failure, or other people's opinions. You understand that rejection does not define your worth. It redirects you to something better. You see failure not as a sign that you are not good enough, but as a necessary step toward growth. You recognize that other people's perceptions of you have nothing to do with your truth. Walking in your power means you no longer beg, chase, or prove. You do not lower yourself to be accepted. You do not stay small to make others comfortable. You do not let fear stop you from becoming who you are meant to be. You decide that you are already enough and you act like it. Self-worth is not just a mindset, it is an energy you carry. It is the way you walk into a room, the way you speak about yourself, and the way you hold space for what you truly deserve. People can feel when you know your worth, just as they can feel when you doubt it. When you embody self-worth, you no longer attract situations that make you question it. You do not entertain relationships, jobs, or environments that do not align with your value. You become magnetic to opportunities and people that respect and honor you because you radiate the energy of someone who knows their own value. Think of self-worth as a frequency. If you operate from a place of lack, you attract experiences that reinforce that lack. If you operate from a place of confidence and abundance, you naturally align with experiences that reflect that. The way you see yourself determines the reality you create. Imagine you are a lighthouse standing on the shore. A lighthouse does not chase ships to prove its worth. It does not dim its light to avoid offending others. It simply stands tall, shining its light, allowing the right ships to find their way to it. This is what it means to walk in your power. You radiate your worth, knowing that the right people, opportunities, and experiences will be drawn to you naturally. Owning your worth is not a one-time decision, it is a daily commitment. There will be days when doubt creeps in, when old patterns try to return, or when the world tests your boundaries. But every moment is an opportunity to choose yourself again. Staying rooted in your worth means speaking to yourself with love, even when you make mistakes. It means choosing relationships and environments that honor you, even if it requires walking away from what no longer serves you. It means trusting your intuition, standing firm in your decisions, and knowing that you deserve the best, not because you have to earn it, but because you exist. Walking in your power means recognizing that you are not for everyone, and that is a good thing. You do not need to be liked by everyone. You do not need to convince people of your value. The right people will see you, appreciate you, and respect you without you having to prove yourself. Self-doubt is the enemy of self-worth. It whispers, "What if I am not enough? What if I fail? What if they do not accept me?" But self-doubt is not truth. It is simply a habit of thought that can be rewired. Whenever self-doubt arises, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this fear based on truth, or is it a story I have been telling myself? Shift your focus to evidence of your strength, resilience, and capability. Confidence is not about always having the right answer. It is about trusting yourself even when you do not. It is about believing in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. The more you affirm your worth, the more natural confidence becomes. When you know your worth, you speak up for yourself because your voice matters. Set clear boundaries because your well-being matters. Pursue your dreams unapologetically because your purpose matters. Let go of people who do not honor you because your peace matters. You stop saying yes when you mean no. You stop apologizing for taking up space. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You begin to walk through life with the confidence of someone who knows they belong. Not because the world told you so, but because you decided it for yourself. Affirmations for walking in your power. I walk through life with confidence and self-respect. I do not chase, beg, or prove. I attract what aligns with my worth. I trust myself completely. I radiate the energy of someone who knows their value. I am rooted in my worth, no matter what happens around me. A practice for today. Stand in front of a mirror, look yourself in the eyes and affirm, I am worthy, I am powerful, and I am enough. Say it with conviction. Say it until you feel it in your body. Then notice how you carry yourself throughout the day. Are you walking with confidence? Are you speaking about yourself with self-respect? Are you making choices that reflect your value? If not, adjust accordingly. When doubt creeps in, remind yourself of who you are. Stand tall in your truth. Do not shrink, apologize, or explain yourself unnecessarily. Move through the world with the confidence of someone who knows they belong. Because you do. Your worth is not something you need to find, fix, or prove. It is something you own. right now, exactly as you are. The moment you fully accept your worth, you become unstoppable. Conclusion: owning your worth. You have spent far too long questioning your worth, searching for external validation, and waiting for permission to feel enough. But the truth is, your worth was never in question. It was never something you had to earn. It was never something that could be taken away. It has always been within you, waiting to be claimed. You were born worthy. You did not arrive in this world needing to prove yourself. No baby questions whether they deserve love, care, or belonging. They exist, and that is enough. Somewhere along the way, you were taught to doubt that truth. You were conditioned to believe that worthiness is something you must prove, measure, or seek outside of yourself. But none of that was ever true. Mastering self-worth is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who you have always been. It is about peeling away the layers of self-doubt, conditioning, and external expectations to return to your true essence. It is about standing in your power and knowing that you are already enough, just as you are. This journey is not about perfection. There will still be moments of doubt, times when old patterns try to resurface, and situations that test your growth. But the difference now is that you know the truth. You know that your worth does not change based on circumstances. You know that you do not have to settle, shrink, or prove yourself to be deserving of love, success, and happiness. Every day you have a choice. You can either continue doubting your worth, waiting for permission, or living according to old stories that no longer serve you. Or you can reclaim your worth, affirm it, and walk in it with confidence. You have the choice to reaffirm your worth every day. You have the choice to walk in your power, to set boundaries, to speak kindly to yourself, and to embody the energy of someone who knows they are valuable. You are not your past. Your mistakes do not define you. Your circumstances do not determine your worth. The opinions of others do not hold power over your truth. You are not broken. You are not lacking. You do not need fixing. You are worthy. You are powerful. You are enough. Final affirmations to carry with you. I am inherently worthy now and always. I do not need to prove myself to be valuable. I embrace my worth and walk in my power. I attract love, success, and joy because I know I deserve them. I am enough exactly as I am. A final practice. Take a deep breath and place your hand over your heart. Close your eyes and say out loud, I am worthy. I always have been and I always will be. Let this truth settle into your body. Let it become part of you. Let it guide every decision, every interaction, and every thought you have about yourself. Let go of every old story that told you otherwise. Release every doubt that ever made you question yourself. You do not need to seek your worth outside of you. It has been within you all along. You are not on a journey to become worthy. You are simply learning to own the worth that has always been yours. Go forward with confidence. Walk boldly in your value. Live in alignment with your highest self, because you are worthy. Now always and in all ways. Thank you for listening. If this audiobook resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on self-worth, confidence, and personal growth. Drop a comment below and let me know. What's one way you're choosing to honor your worth today? Remember, you are enough now and always. See you in the next video. As always, many blessings to you.